You get a guardian ad litem, and you get a guardian ad litem, and you get a guardian ad litem.
Just like getting a car. Just as expensive.
And just as painful.
They're supposed to be impartial. Opening your whole parenting world up. When I got that report back, I did not get out of bed for the next 2 days. I woke up in the middle of the night crying.
I'm not a let them person.
Me neither.
At all.
I can't let them when it comes to my children. I'm Jenny Lynn.
And I'm Jen.
And we're in High Conflict Hell. Let's talk about some high conflict parenting situations.
And what?
If you know, you know. But let's make sure you're in the right place.
You're in the right place if you have hearings coming up and guardian ad litem's being requested.
You are in the right place if you are saving money for a guardian ad litem because they're not free.
You're in the right place if you had to take your anxiety medication for breakfast
because of a guardian ad litem. If you can't tell, today we were talking about guardian ad litem.
Are we?
Oh, cute confetti. Cute confetti.
Okay, we'll do
winner,
confetti.
winner, chicken dinner.
You get a guardian ad litem, and you get a guardian ad litem.
Just like getting a car. Just as expensive.
And just as painful.
Just as painful. May work, may not work. Who knows what you're going to get when you drive off the lot?
You know, like when you take your kids to the car dealership, that's awful. So is taking your kids to a guardian ad litem.
Oh, gosh. Or they come to you. Well, okay. So, Jen, you have a motion pending, and it's not your motion. It's your ex-husband's motion.
Right.
That he is requesting a guardian ad litem in your case.
Yes.
I had a guardian ad litem in my case. I requested the guardian ad litem in my case.
Yeah. How was that?
Oh, I was in over my head.
What is a guardian ad litem for the rest of us
Okay.
that don't yet have this experience?
All right. So a guardian ad litem is a court-appointed person who advocates for the best interest of a person, usually a vulnerable person. Mm-hmm. In this case, on family law, it's a child. Their whole job is to investigate the situation by interviewing the parties and professionals and then reporting recommendations to the judge. They're supposed to be impartial. Their whole sole purpose in family law case is to look out for the best interest of the kids. So they rely very heavily on the guardian ad litem.
Yeah.
I had a guardian ad litem in my case.
How was that?
I was not prepared, is what I will say. And I should have been prepared, and I wasn't. And, well, first off, my guardian ad litem had given me a couple options for appointment times, and I had a full-time job, and only the very last appointment time worked for me. Mm-hmm. And immediately I thought to myself, I should take the first slot because it's recency bias. The person you talk to last
sticks in the head.
It sticks in your head. And it was during COVID. She talked to my ex-husband and my kids via Zoom only when they were at my ex-husband's house. And they talked to my ex-husband first, and she talked to my kids first.
Okay.
And I requested specifically that she talk to the kids in a neutral location. Not my house, not his house. Talk to them someplace where they feel like they can talk. My middle daughter at the time was in therapy for being able to use her voice while she was at her dad's.
Yeah.
She was having a very hard time articulating her thoughts and feelings while she was at her dad's house.
Yeah.
Still to this day, my kids will call me from their dads with something going on, be so sad, actually, hiding in the corner, whispering, putting me on mute because they can hear his footsteps coming to the door. Mm-hmm. They can hear him listening. And whether it's purposeful or not actually doesn't matter. The result's the same.
Right.
I just think it was like bare minimum that they talked to the kids at a neutral
How old
location.
were the kids when there was a guardian ad litem involved?
5, 8, and 11. Mm-hmm. So pretty young.
Okay.
Pretty young.
That is what is the root cause of concern. Why I don't want a guardian ad litem involved is because they are biased, and there is a bias toward the requesting party a lot of the time, is what I was reading. And that it's scary, and that it is a lot for children. So what was your...
So you're opening your whole parenting world up. It's not just you they're talking to or interviewing and your kids. Mm-hmm. I had to provide 3 people from like my world that then they could interview as well. And then on top of that, there were a few people that they just wanted to quote unquote call anyways. Because I didn't like put my mom down.
Right.
She asked for my mom's number.
Right.
I was like, okay. And so ironically, I was the requesting party.
Yeah.
And it is, and I've said this before, as soon as she opened up with me, her first words to me were, I hear there's a lot of drama in your case.
Yeah.
And immediately, and she was a very young white woman, and I thought to myself, holy crap, I'm in over my head.
Right.
Because as
you think this is drama?
Exactly. And as a working professional, I would never go into a professional situation calling something drama. If you're here because of the drama, welcome. It's a podcast. This is not an investigation into my parenting.
Right. Well, and guardian ad litems are always, correct me if I'm wrong, they're always licensed therapists, right?
No.
What can they be?
They can,
Because I've only seen licensed therapists.
no, a lot of attorneys are guardian ad litems. They go through a guardian ad litem training.
What?
Oh, yeah. A lot of former judges are guardian ad litem.
I could see that.
Yeah. I don't know. I would guess, and I should probably look it up.
I'm going to look it up. What are the requirements?
The requirements vary state by state because that's usually how those things go.
Yeah.
And depending on your state, depends on what the qualifications for that guardian ad
I'm
litem
going to look
have
for
to be.
our state.
There's probably a certification process you have to take, like a state certification process.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy. I thought that they had to be I made an assumption, knowing that so many of them are licensed therapists, that they had some background, that they know how to work with people in the psychology of
Jen,
people.
I'm a fucking genius,
It's
number one.
exactly what it says.
It literally, the AI answer is almost exactly what I said. Guardian ad litem requirements vary state by state, but generally involve specific training, background checks, and meeting eligibility criteria set by courts, often requiring degrees in social work or related fields, experience with children, or legal expertise, plus ongoing continuing education to represent a child's best interests. What I will say that people don't talk about in the guardian ad litem world is it is a huge referral base.
Right.
So when you're trying to pick your guardian ad litem, you put down 3 people that you would like, and then you ask the other party to put down 3 people that they would like. And off of that list, hopefully you can come to a conclusion.
Right.
If not, you'll ask the judge to pick one of the people. But now think about that from the perspective of the guardian ad litem.
Right.
Okay? This is how you make your living. And based on your performance is how often you will get chosen.
Yeah.
Based on when I was very briefly practicing family law, I had other attorneys would call me and ask me that I had a guardian ad litem in cases and say to me, were they more dad friendly or were they more mom friendly?
Yeah, this is not an unbiased, impartial process.
Oh,
There's no way.
No, well, did you think that they were fair, or or were you kind of like, that one's kind of off?
Right.
And that was the real life conversations. So I had this knowledge going into my own case.
Right.
And I was still unprepared. That's how
you're not looking for fairness. You're looking for a win.
Well, and that's how naive I was.
Right.
Is because I was under such a barrage of threats and text messages in writing that my assumption, honestly, was that anybody who's it would take an idiot not to read this and see that this man is coming after
2
me.
barrels of a gun, leaving children in cars unattended that are way, way, way too young.
Threatening to beat me up and stalk me and sit in front of my house and hire all of this in writing. And
you're like, I could hire any one of the, let's pick the
doesn't matter.
discount one that calls my world drama.
Right. And I wasn't trying to limit his time. So there's a difference too.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're asking for a parenting plan, if you're trying to limit the other person's time via supervised visits, or if you're just asking for a schedule that doesn't have a 50-50 plan. So that's what I was doing. I was asking for a schedule that doesn't have a 50-50 plan. Maybe that was my mistake. I mean, I have a whole list of mistakes that I could go down. Maybe I should have been asking for supervised visits until a psych eval was complete. But I didn't want to be that parent.
Right.
At
this time, you were like, we're fine. He's going to be fine.
I was still hoping he would calm down.
Right.
And all of this would just kind of...
and be a good person.
Smooth out. And we could co-parent. I was under a facade for a very long time. And we'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah.
Parallel parenting versus co-parenting. because I was under a facade that once things calmed down, we could just co-parent.
Right.
And the guardian ad litem did not help that situation, because I do think what happens is then you are reading not only what the other person has said about you, which that's not even what bothered me.
Right.
It wasn't what
You know how he feels about you right now. Not a big deal.
Felt about me.
Right.
You know,
Like
he wanted
crazy.
to literally take me down with 2 barrels. Like, what was hard was when he picked the 3 people that were supposed to write on his behalf or be interviewed on his behalf. He picked a neighbor who had been in our house twice. We lived next door to her for 7 years.
Okay.
We would run into her in the driveway and say hello. Okay. He picked an out-of-town friend in Portland. Okay. And then he picked his mother in the East Coast. There was not a single person he picked who could relate his everyday parenting to the guardian ad litem.
Right.
And my guess is the guardian ad litem came back to him and said, do you have anyone locally who sees your parenting?
Do you have anybody?
And he asked one of my best friends. And I mean, we're not friends anymore. Let me just say that.
That's how that went.
That's how that went.
Yeah.
And immediately I was shocked.
Right.
I was like, why would he ask you
Right.
to write something? And I hadn't asked her.
Right.
And mainly because she's my best friend. I thought that she would just, you know, be really biased and be really obvious. I wanted just more people who saw us both.
Right.
You know?
You were not trying to pull sheepskin over your eyes, over someone's eyes.
The sheep's wool.
Yeah, is
Or
that
the wool. I don't know.
You were not trying to trick anybody.
Yeah. And so my friend had come and talked to me, you know, should I do this? And I was like, yeah, do it. Just make sure you say
The truth.
well, I mean, I was like, make sure you like point out that this man is treating me horribly. I was still,
That is the truth.
It's so hard because I was being treated so horribly, and it still is very hard for me to distinguish how I was being treated alone, how I was being treated in front of the kids, and then how the kids were being treated. It's layered, right? And I had not just one, but 2 therapists tell me that I should be very cautious with that friend. The fact that he even felt comfortable approaching her.
Yeah.
That was a huge red flag to them. Actually, both of them thought that maybe they had like a something on the side. Yeah.
They probably did.
And it came out that my ex-husband told me at some point, like, oh, your friend, she was texting me tonight. And I'd be like, what do you mean? Oh yeah, she was just asking me like what I was up to. And so I'm not sure.
Right. Speculatory.
It's pure speculation. That was just pure, you know, me. I'm repeating what 2 licensed therapists, should have been my GALs,
Yeah.
came back and said at me that just to be cautious with that friendship, because that screamed to them that, once again, if he's going to her, what kind of relationship do they have that I am not aware of that he would feel comfortable?
I feel like my ex-husband would come to you, and I know there is nothing going on there, but he's kind of dumb.
Well, that was what I thought too. I was like, no, he's just an idiot.
Yeah.
You know? But now in hindsight, there were a few things that were written, and maybe she did write something, because I remember reading something.
Maybe it was the guardian ad litem's write-up of what she said.
Yeah, I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look specifically. But there were a few things that really caught me off guard. So another mutual friend of ours at the time had written a statement for the guardian ad litem. And she talked about how she showed up to my ex-husband's house for the play date with the kids. And there was marijuana smoke billowing out of the house. And that was it. That was the last time she ever had the kids there.
Right.
And I was like, oh, illustrative, right?
My goodness, do things on your own time, in your own space, where it is not impacting children.
Right. Where my friend, when she said why her kids don't go over there, she had said, I just think they like Jenny Lynn better. And when I read that, I was like, that's why your kids don't go over there? Like, and she was like, well, you know, I didn't know what to say. I'm like, how about the truth? How about you don't trust him?
I don't let my
His house looks
kids.
like a bachelor pad. You know he smokes a ton of weed.
Yeah.
How about the truth? How about as women we stop protecting men?
Right.
And start calling out why we don't go over
Well, I thought
there.
I could just elevate you without disparaging him.
Well, and that's what it was. Is that so? It wasn't saying anything negative about me. And then what she did speak a lot of us was his mentality towards me, which was his bullying towards me,
Right.
his scare tactics towards me. In the guardian ad litem was basically during the trial was that specific declaration and interview was pointed to a lot was from my friend. And my attorney was like, what about the actions towards her? What about the bullying? What about the intimidation? What about the scare tactics? And she was like, well, it's not uncommon in these kind of situations for people to really take one side or the other. And I remember sitting there thinking, this was his person. This wasn't even my person.
Right.
And can anyone please point out the fact that you're in a high conflict custody situation, okay? You're having a 3-day trial. There's a guardian ad litem involved. Neither one of us have any family here. That
Right.
was a topic during our trial because I was requesting a move because I wanted to be closer to my family too.
Yeah.
And he didn't have one person locally who he could ask to write or say anything about his parenting. I am sorry. What happens when there's an emergency?
Right.
What happens?
Right.
Like that fact alone that you don't have one single person who can talk about your everyday parenting
Right.
should be a massive red flag. And the person that you did pick then was one of my friends,
Right.
who basically clearly, like, I'm seeing very clearly now, had some kind of like at least very middle ground, which everyone knows how I feel about the middle ground
Yeah.
in these high conflict custody situations, that there is no middle ground for me.
No, there's not.
If you're coming after my kids and you're coming after their health and safety, like I said a million times before, you tell me where that middle ground is.
Yeah.
Let me take your kids. Let me start doing things that are unsafe with them. And then you turn to me and tell me, I don't want to get in the middle of this.
Right.
It doesn't exist in my world.
Right. I've taken that
Sorry.
stance. I've taken that stance recently, and it's not that I thought it was like dramatic or overkill or anything before, but I didn't think that would apply to my situation.
Well, and when we first met, or when you first moved in,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but before I came and talked to you, I was talking to my best friends about this.
Yeah.
That you had just moved in and you had 3 kids and they were my kids' ages. And just like that, I was excited.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of contact going on there between you and my ex-husband.
Yeah.
And I was still in the midst of my custody case when you moved in.
Right.
It wasn't over. And when you're in the middle of a case like that, anything you say to a mutual friend,
Right.
and I had already learned that.
Right.
Because I had already been through the GAL. We don't have mutual friends.
Right.
That's how that fell.
Right.
And they were like, say something, but don't expect a response.
Right.
Don't expect action. Say something so that if there is a lot of distance there between the two of you, she understands why. That she's
Right.
not just thinking you don't want the kids to play or you're avoiding her. But
Yeah.
don't say something with the expectation
Right.
that she'll actually get it.
Yeah.
And super helpful. But the other night when we were talking about us doing this,
Yeah.
they were like, "Who knew?"
That's funny. Well, so it's interesting because you did come to me and you did tell me, and I took it and I understood it, but I did not understand it like I understood it now. And so I would interact with him in a way that if the kids, your kids, Jenny Lynn's kids, wanted to come to my house after school, they could, because they always wanted to go be close to their mom. And I really cannot stand this guy. Looking at him irritates me. When I run into him in public, it actually really infuriates me to see him or hear him. But it's still really hard for me not to interact with him because I want his kids, your kids, to want to be around me.
And absolutely. And I want my kids to want to be around you. And I think the exact words
but also
that
fuck him.
Well, I think the exact words that I used because I can remember, I don't know if you remember this
I
conversation.
don't. I remember us talking about it a few times, but I don't remember the
I remember it
conversation.
so vividly.
Yeah.
It was at the soccer field.
Okay.
'Cause our older daughters are playing on the same team. And I said to you, hey, I love that the kids have you, no matter where they're at. I'm not going to be able to see you laughing and joking on the sidelines with him, though.
Yeah.
Like that, we don't.
Did I do that?
Yeah. We don't have,
I don't
I
remember
just
that.
said, I was like, we don't have mutual friends like that.
Yeah.
By all means, arrange a play date, whatever. And I wasn't like, you pick either me or him.
No,
I was
you
more
never
just, and it's weird too, because it's impossible to explain to someone
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I just had to do it recently. I didn't tell them don't be friends, but I was like, don't be surprised if he comes to you asking for a statement. And I would hope that you don't do that.
Well, okay, because in your case, when I saw their motion for a guardian ad litem, which you have had no supporting documents provided yet, a whole flood of things just came, like the memories of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've said this before, but the neighbor who he asked, who had been in my house twice, she's never had kids. She was a former school teacher, wrote, instead of having a third kid, she should have gotten a dog. I don't understand how someone with her level of education would just stay at home like this, which I wasn't just staying at home. She knew nothing about my life. I worked. But
You
that
should
was
have
the
invited
level.
her in a third time.
Yeah, right. That was the level of disconnect that I was reading.
Right.
And it's funny because I ran into a neighbor, an old neighbor. I used to live a couple blocks away. So this happened at my old house. And I ran into a neighbor at a school dance. And I told her, I was like, oh, is so-and-so neighbor still there? And she was like, oh, yeah. She's like, but she never comes out. And I was like, well, good.
She came out for something.
That's what I said. I was like, just beware. Because I think as a woman to another woman, if you're having a rough time in your marriage, which this woman was, be aware.
Yeah.
This is what this woman said about me. She wrote it. I had to read it. And I carry that with me. And I shouldn't. But I do.
Well, she was a school teacher, so that holds some weight. Like, where did you get this from? How did you...
Well, honestly, I probably was stressed. I was probably overwhelmed. She probably could hear us fighting.
Yeah.
But I think that once I saw that motion, I said to you, I was like, be prepared because, and you haven't gotten it yet. And once you do get it, we'll do an update. But there's a couple mutual friends and I'm guessing your mother-in-law, because the court doesn't have to approve a guardian ad litem. Okay, it is very expensive on the parties. Yeah. So they request a guardian ad litem and the court either approves or doesn't approve it. And if you're in real financial hardship, they can do a court-appointed one. But if not, you're paying for it. Yeah. And retainers for guardian ad litems in the city, I think they're around $5,000.
Well, they told me that I needed to pay for half of it in the document, and it's like $2,700, $2,800.
You're half.
So yeah, so almost $6,000.
Depending where you are, though, I know that those costs vary significantly.
Right.
They can be $1,500. They can be $3,000. And that's usually for a set amount of hours. If you have a more complex case, they bill you by the hour. $75, $150. You just set your own rate as a guardian ad litem.
And what do we have a guardian ad litem for? What is this request for?
Well, that's
to prove my campaign, the campaign against him for parental alienation.
That's what you're going to see.
To prove my emotional volatility and disturbing environment that I'm consistently being accused of.
Yes. That's what you're going to see. You're going to see people in your life that you interact with writing about your parenting, writing about your interactions with your kids, what they've seen you do or not do. And it makes me want to throw up, honestly, for you. Because I think what they're trying to say with this alienation is far-fetched, especially when there are incidences that have caused estrangement that are very easily to point to, but there's no accountability there. So instead it's mom's fault. And let's open an investigation on, well, it's on both parents, but it is an investigation onto what is best for these kids because we think mom is really screwing up. Right. And I can remember when your mother-in-law was sitting in your house recently. And I was asking you, how did that go? Yeah. And you were like, well, I just told her this. I was like, no, what did she say? Right. Did she give you any indication that what she's going to say about you? And you were like, she's not going to say anything about me. Do you still think that?
Oh, no. Even after you and I had that conversation, I was like, oh, yeah. I also think that's part of the reason that she probably came to pick up the children and drop them off.
And came in your house.
Yeah, she's like, let me refresh. I haven't been here in a while.
You think?
Now that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. After asking the court to grant makeup time, the immediate following weekend that was his, he didn't come. And his mother came into my house uninvited. She just walked in. She knows the code. So she came in and I told her, I said, you can come sit down if you want to. And
just so everyone knows, the code is 7842.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you, Jenny Lynn's here for $5. Venmo me at. So
I'll DM anyone the code who's
who's just curious,
who follows us.
Come see my disturbing environment and emotional volatility in real life. Password provided. So I was just telling her, like, do you know that your son has requested my Alcoholics Anonymous sign-in sheets, emails, and text messages related to that? And I'm not an alcoholic at all. I've never been to Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't have any kind of abuse like that. That's never been a topic. And
Which,
also,
if it is not an issue for you, but it's just not an issue for her in her case. It's being used to bully her and inflame her.
It's meant to fearmonger.
Yes.
They also have asked for the same things in relation to chemical and substance abuse. Also, not something I've ever had. And to take it a step further, if you are a recovered alcoholic, that should not be used against you.
Right. Let's take your recovery and weaponize it.
Yeah. Instead, if you're an alcoholic, maybe, and you're not caring for your children safely, that's a topic of conversation, but it's not something that's going on. So it is fear mongering. It is intentionally scary, and it does have me shaking. So I'm telling his mom this, and she was like, I didn't know any of that. I said, yeah. Have you asked your son what is going on? And she said, yes, he won't tell me anything.
Do you believe that?
No. Well, yes, I don't think that he is telling her. I don't think that he has the ability to articulate what's going on. I think he's barely following it himself. And so I told her, I said, maybe you should ask him if you could read the things that are going on, because you, as a girl's girl, a self-proclaimed girl's girl who supports women above all else, she doesn't. Newsflash, she doesn't. It is conditional. Her care and support for women is conditional. Anyway, moving on. She was like, well, you can send him to me. And I was like, no, he can show you, or he can share with you what's going on. This stuff is damaging to the children long term. They might not know about it right now.
Next time, just send it all to her.
And, I started to actually when I was sitting there talking to her. And then I was like, what? Because that to me would be something somebody would write about as a campaign. Not only now is she campaigning the children.
Yep.
Now, anybody else who will hear her.
Yep.
So, no, you should have no shame in what you're doing. If what you're doing is right, this is justified, share it.
Yeah.
Show people so you can feel supported and loved and cared for, along with your at least $10,000 bill you've got going on so far.
It's about to get steeper.
It is. The amount of documents that they've requested from me, one of my loan documents that they've requested is 112 pages. When they're not even asking to have child support relooked at. And I'm like, why do you want to look at a 112-page document?
Well, once again, it's placing the idea of fear in you. It's you give us all your personal financial information. You give us all your text messages between you and your daughter.
And that's fine.
And once a guardian ad litem gets involved, that just goes even deeper. Well, it's twofold, because the things then that I thought were like illustrative of his level of involvement didn't seem to matter.
Was it because he's a dad?
I think it is because he was a dad.
Yeah.
And my lawyer after my trial said to me, what happened to you is what I would call the typical Sunday morning dad effect.
Yeah.
That a dad on a Sunday morning is equivalent to a mom 7 days a week. She was like, and I've seen it before, and it is just, it's brutal. And there's nothing you can do to combat that. And
it's called the Disney dad syndrome. The Sunday morning dad effect is what that reminded me of.
Yeah, Disneyland dad.
Yeah.
When you see them, you're on vacation. When you see them, you're going
Which also,
to the
that's
arcade.
Great. I'm not even
I want to be a Disney dad. That's what I want to come back on.
My ex-husband has always done that, and I love that for him. My kids have fun when they're with him.
And my first attorney was like, he's not going to want this. He's not around. I was like, I know. I was
doesn't want to be around.
He doesn't want to be around. He was starting a business. I'm like, there's no possible way he could be around. The business he had, children were not allowed inside of it. It was a 21 and over facility.
Yeah.
Which then during COVID, they made special exceptions to those rules.
Okay.
And he brought the kids in, and the court didn't care. I was like, wait, he had another option. This isn't like an emergency. He's not a surgeon in a hospital that he needs to operate on someone. Like, I am here.
And
I am
scheduled.
around. And and it's scheduled. And that's his only choice, is to bring a 5-year-old in a warehouse where there's chemicals and there's drugs.
Why didn't he drop them off with the neighbor?
Right. And she already had a dog.
It wasn't a dog. Yeah.
She already had a dog.
Maybe that's what she meant, is she would have watched 2 kids and a dog.
And my whole point was he's unable to make decisions that are for the best interest of our kids because he hates me.
Right.
That's my whole point.
Oh, and
whether or not it's legally allowed right now because of a pandemic, that's irrelevant to me. The state knows it is not safe for kids to go in here.
Right.
He is openly admitting he brings kids in here. And not only was he bringing kids in there, he was bringing kids to these stores.
Yeah.
And leaving them in the car because they weren't allowed to go in. Because they're waiting in the car.
Right.
While he delivered product inside
And
the
very
stores.
much not old enough to be alone in cars.
No. And I'm just going to say, he runs a marijuana business.
Yeah.
Like, if you want your kids being in a warehouse full of marijuana, take them.
And we're not prudes. We're not people that are like, oh my God, marijuana is bad.
No,
but this is not
the guy.
an acceptable, right. This is not an acceptable place for children, especially given that they could go be at their mom's house when they're going back and forth between houses anyway.
Yes.
It's not like he's trying to protect you when you're safe and healthy during the pandemic. Let's not expose you to your mom.
No.
Was absolutely to maintain control.
And I'm also not the babysitter. Let me be clear. But if your whole argument is that you have a flexible schedule and you can do this, do it.
Right.
Do it. And do it safely and do it properly. Mm-hmm. But the expectation that I am held to as a woman is clearly very different that Dad was being held to.
Right.
And that's what became so clear through my whole guardian ad litem experience.
Right.
That the expectation for me, I was supposed to take threats of violence, threats of guns, threats of burning, stalking, private investigators. I was supposed to be able to take that all in front of my kids. I was supposed to take my kids being left in cars and my kids being taken to marijuana warehouses. Yeah. I was supposed to be able to take that and still be able to co-parent with this person and not make a big deal about anything.
And be the perfect mom. So cook breakfast and lunch and dinner and love your children.
Not be dramatic about it.
Oh, yeah. You started drama.
Not be dramatic about it.
Yeah.
While he, on the other hand, was leaving kids in cars, bringing them to marijuana warehouses, threatening me in front of them, creating incidences where clearly a domestic violence restraining order was put in place, went out and bought 5 assault rifles.
Right.
Like, my mind was actually
This
blown.
was not accusations of domestic violence. There was a domestic violence restraining order. If you go to the Weapons and Whiplash episode and listen to it, you can hear the whole story. But this was not like a guardian ad litem was able to hear and see all of these things.
All he said to the guardian ad litem was, I didn't mean it that way. He didn't say he never said it. He didn't say he never did it. He didn't say those weren't my text messages. The only thing, and it's still, what I get is a 1-line threat from him or a 1-line dig, and then 4 paragraphs of explaining why that isn't actually a dig. He didn't actually mean it that way. It's exactly what happened with our guardian ad litem.
But what do you mean it like? Like, what's the alternative there? Because if you're like, Jen, do you like this shirt? And I'm like, And later on, you're like, hey, Jen, you hurt my feelings when I asked you about my shirt earlier. And I go, oh, I didn't mean it like that. Maybe that's like an appropriate time to use that. Not 2 barrels of a gun I'm going to come at you with. You can't mean that in any other way.
Well, they said that he meant it figuratively, like he was going to take me down. Which, okay.
Like
what did you mean
sex?
then when you said you were going to sit in front of my house and record whoever was coming in and out?
That's it. Voyeurism?
I don't know. What figurative language is that? What did you mean when you said you were going to, or you did hire a private investigator on me and my so-called boyfriend, and I should just wait to see what was going to be thrown in my face? What did you mean when you texted my boyfriend you were going to come up there with a truckload of people and kick his ass? What's the figurative language there? And why are certain statements being used as quote unquote figurative language and then other statements, once again, this is not my job.
Right.
I am not the person on the other side of this who's going to decide what he actually means and what's figurative language, because it's not my job. And guess what? Turns out I'm a horrible judge of character. Turns out I am the worst person to be on the other side of that and to say, not in an abusive relationship. Oh, just calm down.
Right.
Turns out when you're in it, it's really freaking hard to see what's actually happening. And it isn't until years later when I'm seeing these behaviors then put forth on my kids that I am losing my brain.
Right.
Because treat me that way all you want and I'll justify it and all this stuff. But when this starts going towards my kids,
Right.
no, I mean, no.
That cannot defend themselves, that do not know how to emotionally work through these things or
And who shouldn't
understand
have
what's a
to.
figurative piece of language or what's a real threat to you.
Right. Yeah. So after you do the guardian ad litem interviews and after they interview all the people in your lives,
How can I pay for it first? Can we do that?
yeah, first you have to probably sell those titties on the street, pay for your guardian ad litem.
These are going for $2,700, I think, roughly.
You get a report back. Okay. So then you have an opportunity to read through
Okay.
what everyone says about you and
Wonderful.
then the guardian's conclusions and their recommendations. This is like months before the trial portion. Okay. When I got that report back, I did not get out of bed for the next 2 days.
I think I need 3 already.
I woke up in the middle of the night crying. I was like, oh my God. Well, number one, at the time before we had the guardian ad litem, I still had majority custody. It was like a 60-40 split, and she was recommending 50-50. Yeah, I lost. And here's the crazy part, Jen, is after this report came back and we were heading into trial, my ex-husband said to my lawyer at the time, we can just keep the schedule the same. And I said, no.
Right. It was worth it to you.
My kids are there 40% of the time right now, and that is too much.
Yeah.
You are not being safe with them.
Right.
And I lost again at trial. And I would like to think that I have enough intellectual capacity where I was a knowing risk.
Right.
It wasn't.
No, I wouldn't think that.
My emotional response, my instinct to try and protect my children outweighed
Right.
any kind of actual logic, education, groundingness, where in hindsight, I mean, hindsight's always easier, but in hindsight, I maybe should have said, okay, let's just keep this schedule the same. And then kind of seeing how those cards fell as time. And this is what a lot of people have told me since. When you're dealing with someone who's really high conflict on the other side,
Yeah.
just let them.
Yeah.
And I hate that fucking word because I'm like, get them.
I'm not a let them.
I'm not a let them
That's like a big
person.
trend right now
Oh.
too. I'm sure everybody's heard that. I'm not a let them person.
Me neither.
At all.
Oh, I can't let them when it comes to my children.
Right.
I can't let them when it comes to harming. I just can't sit back and see what's going to happen.
Right.
That is not me as a person. And frankly, I was worried. My daughter, I immediately had gone out after the 50-50 was awarded and bought my middle daughter a cell phone because my oldest son was being left at home by himself a lot.
Yeah.
And he had the phone that I had gotten him. And not just once, not just twice, several times, she called me being left in the car and scared. We're at some warehouse. We're sitting in some parking lot.
That is scary.
And she's too young. And
Yeah.
she's with her sister.
Right.
Who's
she's
3
watching.
years younger.
And
who-
she's then caring for another child.
Yeah. And I can remember calling my attorney and being like, is there anything I can do about this?
Yeah. And you can't.
And she said, well, if they can tell you where they are or you can turn on the location and they're scared, absolutely. Always go and get your kid if they're scared. And we'll just deal with the repercussions from that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I
You're
still
damned
have,
if you do, damned if you don't.
Absolutely.
There was no right
No.
thing you could have done in that moment. And I think that anybody, when I listen to what's gone on and I know your story and things that have happened, anybody would have looked at him saying, we'll just keep 60-40. Anybody would fight that with the things that you've gone through. Anybody.
I wish I had it.
Well, yeah, that is, hindsight's beautiful, right?
And the goal now is as least contact as possible. If we can do an exchange at a school, that's where it's happening. At a pickup, a drop off, at a school release or a school start.
Yeah.
And I will say, anyone who's listening, if you're writing a parenting plan, even if you think you're in a really good co-parenting situation, make the plan as specific as possible. Jen, I'm talking to you.
I know.
Make the plan as specific as possible because things change, life changes, people change, new spouses, new jobs, new girlfriends, new fiancés,
New mental health issues.
mother-in-laws who get really mad at you.
Yeah.
And that's your backup. That's the constitution for your kids, the blueprint for your kids' lives. And when things fall apart, that's when that should be there to catch you.
So I had many people tell me when we had made our parenting plan, because we made it together, we sat and we talked about it. It was very amicable. It felt at the time with his work situation and work travel, actually very generous. Well,
Like, what do you mean by that?
when I give you all holidays because you are gone so much.
Okay.
So that when you are home, you
Yeah.
get them if you want them as much as you want. And we talked about this when we
that you
put it
gave
in
up all
place.
the holidays as mom.
Yes. Yeah. And because he's just gone for them so many. Anyways, so many people were like,
Okay, but what
Don't
happens
do
when
this.
that job switches?
well,
Because this parenting plan is supposed to last 10 to 15 years in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
In that amount of time, people get new jobs, they get new careers. And that's what
yeah, 'cause I have all kinds of regret now.
Well, of course.
And I would have made different decisions though, then they still wouldn't be right. I don't mind the vagueness because we've always been able to talk about things and it hasn't been a problem. Now it is problematic because now he's looking for it to say things that we just normally talk about and agree or disagree on with no problem. But this is new. If I had made choices based on our relationship then that was very set in stone, I don't know that I would have made the right choices. Our children were very young. They were 5 and 2. I wouldn't have anticipated our oldest wanting to go to a private school. I would not have anticipated car registration or what insurance looks like for a 16-year-old someday. Those are not things that they were so far off my radar.
Right. But in order to change the parenting plan, it is difficult.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens when they're asking for the minor modifications. But if you're looking for a major modification of a parenting plan, if you're going to hire an attorney, once again, depending on your area, is thousands and thousands of dollars for a modification of a parenting plan. And you're looking at car insurance or proms or cell phones that are unaccounted for. You're not paying $10,000 to a lawyer to do that. Are you going to try and do it yourself?
Right.
Maybe. Hope if that's what it comes down to.
Right.
Are you going to win?
Right. And I'm saying, like, it's hard for me to sit and think about this because I hope that in 3 years when we have a child that's driving, I hope that won't even have to worry about contacting another parent if he's not in a position. But I don't know what's going to happen. It's hard to think. I'm over it.
Well, and realistically, even with the guardian litem, they can split it proportionally to your incomes instead of 50-50.
Yeah.
They take it off the child support worksheets, right? So if this person is 60% and this person's 40, that's how you split then all of your expenses.
That's like, why make things so complicated?
Well, because clearly he wants something to change.
Well, I don't know what he wants.
Okay, so how do you prepare for a guardian ad litem's investigation?
You cry. You have concern for your children and how this is going to feel for them.
Okay, no, realistically though, how do you prepare? Do you clean your house?
Yeah.
Do you make sure there's food in the fridge?
So
do you practice what you're going to say?
Yeah. Well, so I was on the phone with a friend. I'm trying to explain to her, and she said something like, I didn't realize this was so scary or something. And I was like, yes, friend, I'm literally standing in my own home, doing circles, looking at this environment and thinking, do I need to do something else with my cooking knives? Are they stored properly for my 10 and 13-year-old? Is my medication in the right place? All of these things, is it right? And I'm starting to hyper focus on my very warm, welcoming, safe home as if it is a disturbing environment to prepare for this. That's what I'm doing.
Well,
And my house is not clean right now.
So the internet's advice on how to prepare for a GAL is be cooperative, respond promptly to requests, provide documents and attend meetings, stay calm and factual, avoid speaking negatively or emotionally about the other parent, focus on behaviors affecting the child, and show stability. Keep a clean, child-friendly home, ensure the children has routine and demonstrated support for their needs. What I will say is that number 2, staying calm and factual, was my priority.
Biggest mistake? Oh.
And my biggest mistake.
Yeah.
That it was, and I tried to be just very calm and factual about what was going on because I didn't want to seem like the
reactive,
reactive, overly emotional person I've been labeled my whole life.
Yeah.
Which then blew up in my face when the GAL testified that in most situations, a woman who's threatened with guns has a reason to be scared.
Yeah, you were too stoic.
Not in this one.
Yeah.
And there was nothing I could do. And what I will say is it wasn't a conscious thought, like, I'm going to get up there and I'm going to present as calm.
Right.
All that I was actively thinking was, this is about the kids. Be factual.
Yeah. Get through this. Be calm for your own stability and well-being. Get through.
But when she asked me if I thought he really meant the things that she had to say, that was the only time I cried during the entire evaluation. And I started listing all of the things he had said and done to me. Mm-hmm. And then listening to her be just completely dismissive of my entire experience in the trial.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I actually don't think it matters. I don't think it mattered if I was calm and collected or if I was emotional and a crazy witch. You know, I think that
the result was going to be the result.
Well, I think my mistake too was I wasn't asking for a limitation of time. I think if I had it, I wouldn't have gotten it. And I was asking for just a parenting plan that wasn't 50-50, that this person was not being safe.
Right.
And he wasn't being safe towards me, and he definitely wasn't being safe for the kids. And I think that gray area is really hard for the court to operate in.
Right.
And that's when the default comes into play.
Yeah.
We're not going to decide who's at fault here or who's not.
Yeah.
We're just going to say parenting time split.
Yeah.
So, loser. So, if you get a GAL.
What am I supposed to do? Tell me.
No fucking clue.
Clean my house. Don't be calm. Don't be stable.
Okay, there's actually like a checklist online too that you can get.
Okay, let's read it. Tell me.
Number 1, avoid speaking negatively about the other parent. Don't lie or make false accusations.
Okay.
Avoid bashing or blaming the other parent. So you're supposed to be talking about the parenting of the children and why potentially this is a harmful situation without saying anything bad. I mean, good luck. Good luck.
I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he did threaten to kill me.
Right. I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he did leave the kids in the car in a parking lot in South Center, Seattle.
I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he has now on 3 different occasions stood in public spaces and screamed, "Fuck you," or "Shut the fuck up" at me.
I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he did bring all 3 of our children into a marijuana warehouse to ride their bikes.
Say anything bad about him, but he is a serial cheater, which is his own thing until he gets my kids involved and aware of it.
I don't want to say anything bad about him.
I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he has had 6 addresses in the last 3 years.
Right? But we're not talking bad about him. We're trying to illustrate the parenting environment here, and he's the parent.
Right.
How am I supposed to illustrate that kind of parenting environment without talking or blaming or illustrating how this happens? Good luck.
Yeah.
May the court gods be with all of you.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Right? Okay. You're up next in the Hunger Games. You're the tribute.
I am.
I survived.
Barely.
I
don't feel like I'm surviving.
Now I'm in the finals.
I will survive.
Jen, what's not the worst thing that's happened to you this week?
Not the worst thing that's happened to me this week is my ex-husband is back into the upswing part of whiplash. So he's being really nice to me again. And I like that. Would love to maintain, but I am scared. What is going on? Why are you being nice to me? You should never have to ask somebody that. So it's really mild right now.
Yeah.
But I don't get it.
Yeah.
I liked when this was our baseline.
Yep.
Okay, what about you? What's not the worst thing that happened to you this week, Jenny Lynn?
What's not the worst thing that happened to me? Well, last night, I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Uh-oh.
I'm my son's hairdresser.
Oh, yeah. You have.
I am the resident hair cutter. He has really curly hair. It's very forgiving. I'm not formally trained. Just like all of this other stuff. Just do it on a wing.
You're formally trained in being an attorney.
Right? Well, actually, I think I'm an expert now in how to handle high conflict co-parenting.
Yeah.
There's no certification involved. It's literally day in, day out, 7 years of training. And
yeah.
Did I graduate?
Step number 1, start a podcast. And step number 2, build a community so that you can feel better about yourself.
Right? So last night, my 15-year-old son comes in, and it's 9:30 at night, and I'm in bed. I'm not asleep or anything. I'm just on my computer. And he was like, hey, do you think maybe we could like get a haircut in? I like drag my ass out of bed at 9:30. And I mean, it was late, but I secretly love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love
That's
the fact
sweet.
that for as long as, there will be an incident where I totally fuck up his hair. It wasn't
And
last
he will
night.
never ask you again.
Yeah, and he'll never ask me again. He probably won't leave the house for a couple weeks. He'll probably give me the culture. But for now, I am his hairdresser, and he like talks to me about like depth and like curls. And
You're a hero.
He has like the quintessential teenage boy haircut
does-
with like
he
the
does.
curls.
Yeah.
And it's natural, and people always ask him like if he's got a perm. And
Yeah.
so it's like, this is natural.
Okay.
So that's not the worst thing that's happened to me, is I got dragged out of bed last night at 9:30 to give a haircut. Okay, this week in hell.
My week in hell, I got an email from my ex-husband's lawyer that was really not even that bad. However, the email was a response to mine where I'm asking him for my ex-husband's updated residential address because I'm being accused of not picking up the children from his residential address. And he will not provide me the new address. And the lawyer's response was nothing about that. And instead just, you didn't sign this document, which is irritating. It's not awful, but just receiving emails from him is hard. It does not feel
And it's
good.
gamey. Why doesn't
Yeah.
he just tell you this address is still valid, or this is the new address?
Right.
Feels very gamish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jenny Lynn, what's your week in hell?
So this week in hell for me, someone hacked into my Instagram.
That's awful.
Yeah, I got a notice that was like, we have an unidentified login
Weird.
from your Instagram. And so I immediately crumbled. I immediately was shattered, because if I can't have my Instagram, then
Right.
what is the point of life?
Close all my checking accounts.
Right. Well, have you ever gotten those spams where it via Instagram specifically, where someone hacks into someone's Instagram
Yes.
and like, you should join this
Hey,
group?
I haven't talked to you in a long
Yep.
time. I need $100.
Yep, and that's what I was imagining in my head was happening.
Yeah.
Turns out it was just my neighbor.
It was me. Patrick.
Somehow my login synced with your phone, which I've never used your phone to go on my Instagram.
Not on any, like, there's never been something you've put your login
Guys.
credentials on.
The meta gods are so crazy.
The worst part is that when I go to my account center to try to remove it from there, because that's what the internet said, it doesn't show up.
No, but you can go onto my Instagram from your phone now, which is hysterical. I'm not hiding anything, so go ahead.
I can go on, but I can't get out. I'm like, so when I try to send her reels when I'm up in the middle of the night, I get a notification.
Oh my God, that's funny.
But I'm not getting notifications like all day from you, just if I'm in the Instagram app, which is too often, by the way.
Still, that's
Okay.
pretty scary what the meta gods can do.
I want to know, do they think we're just one person? Maybe that it's a compliment.
Maybe.
We could just be joint namers.
Joint namers?
Yeah, you know, like when couples have a joint Facebook or Instagram.
We already have a joint name.
high conflict now. But that's
Our joint name is Jen.
but that's how. Well, oh my gosh, our like Bennifer name is just our name.
It's just our name.
But we could be joint Facebookers, and that's how you know someone cheated.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah,
The
were you
second
cheating on me?
that, maybe.
With your own boyfriend.
It's another friend, a better friend.
Okay.
Another neighbor friend.
Don't know. The other Jen?
Yep, there's another neighbor friend named Jen. Okay, bye.
Bye. See you next Tuesday.
See you over the fence.
See you over the fence.